Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Smash JT. It's time again to do another budget gamer episode. I've done this for the NES, I've done it for the Super Nintendo, and I figured, why not hit up a more modern console? Everyone's playing the Switch right now, and there are so many great games for it. So without further ado, let's get to the list. JT. I gotta start this list off with Earth Wars because it's only $4.50, and for your money, it's the best bang for your buck you're gonna get on the Switch. The game has the foundations of a really fast-paced and well-worked-out action RPG, and it's a really fun atmosphere of post-apocalyptic wasteland. There is a bit of repetition and high difficulty spikes, but if you can get past those and see this game for what it really is, it's a really fun time waster. And don't just take my word for it, check out what RGT85 said about it.
Earth Wars is the best budget game on the Nintendo Switch eShop right now, and probably ever. I just picked up this game for $4.50, and I thought this must be some sort of mistake. There's no way that a game that looks this good and plays this good is $4.50.
Next up on the list is Kimiko. Kimiko? Kimiko? It's $4.99 on the eShop. If you love pixel art, this game is right up your alley. It's a hack and slash similar to The Legend of Zelda and a fairly short game, but what it lacks in length and storyline depth, it more than makes up for it with its gorgeous pixel art visuals, an awesome soundtrack, and 3 very different characters to add a ton of replayability to this one. And at the price of $4.99, this game is an easy, solid recommendation. The rest of these titles on this list are going to be $9.99, and the first one I want to start with is Blaster Master Zero. Just because it was one of the first games on the Switch eShop doesn't mean you should forget about it. If you're not familiar with the NES Blaster Master, you might be taken back by its simplistic visuals. But if you're into retro games or you don't care about the graphics, Blaster Master Zero more than makes up for what it looks like with incredible gameplay and storytelling. Blaster Master Zero is a unique type of Metroidvania game. If you've ever played the NES game, you know exactly what you're in for. There are essentially 2 modes of play, the overworld exploration, and then there are the on-foot missions where you enter small caves, and the gameplay completely changes up. Next up is Mighty Gunvolt Burst. This is another one of the earlier titles on the Nintendo Switch, but again, it doesn't mean you should forget about this one. It takes the Mega Man gameplay elements and expands upon them tremendously, with the ability to create almost an endless amount of gun combinations, along with really cool enemy design, awesome gameplay elements, and perfect platforming. Mighty Gunvolt Burst is what Mighty No. 9 should have been, and a true spiritual successor to the Mega Man series. Next up is Elliott Quest, and I can't recommend this one enough, especially if you enjoyed Zelda 2 on the NES. Elliott Quest is able to take some of the best things from its inspirations and present them to the player and make it an entirely new experience. The RPG elements combined with dungeon exploration are an absolute joy to play through. Although the game does lack a bit of direction on what to do next and where to go sometimes, if you can get over that, this game is an absolute gem. Shovel Knight Specter of Torment is another fantastic game by Yacht Club Games. Specter of Torment does a great job of combining incredible platforming action with really cool special attacks. The game has excellent level design, a great art style if you're into retro, and a top-notch soundtrack. If you've never played the original Shovel Knight, I'd strongly recommend picking up Shovel Knight Treasure Trove on the Switch, because that title includes Specter of Torment. But if the whole reason you're watching this list is to find out some good cheap games on the Switch, you really can't beat $10 for Specter of Torment alone. Next up is Unepic, and honestly, I enjoyed this game so much when I bought it on my Wii U back in the day, that I got it again for my Switch. If you've never played Unepic, the basic storyline of it is you're playing Dungeons & Dragons with your friends where you take a trip to the bathroom and fall into the actual Dungeons & Dragons world that you guys were playing in, and the whole point of the game is to escape it. And while the storyline is a bit far-fetched, as long as you play along with it, you're definitely gonna have a blast. It's a very old-school adventure title, and while on the surface it may sound like it's a bit sarcastic and joking around, the actual gameplay is very serious. It's another Metroidvania type title, so there is a bit of backtracking with it, so if you're not a fan of those kind of games, definitely steer clear, but for everyone else, I can't recommend this one enough. If you are a big fan of Gauntlet back in the arcades or on the NES, you will absolutely love Hammerwatch. It's an extremely challenging game at times with really high difficulty spikes, but as long as you're okay with the challenge, especially when it's the player's fault for dying, I really didn't have too much of an issue with that. The exploration is extremely rewarding, and I have a blast every time I play Hammerwatch. Now I know this one's an older title as well, but if you've never played it before, or even if you have, World of Goo is still worth the $10. World of Goo is a true gem. Classic puzzle block building with these little goo blobs that can be easily solved as long as you're thinking ahead or have quick reflexes. If you've played it before, let this serve as a reminder that it's available on the Switch, and I highly recommend grabbing it. And if you've somehow never played World of Goo before, definitely pick this one up. I have yet to find somebody that does not like it. Another game that I absolutely loved is Guns, Gore, and Cannoli. While it can get a bit repetitive, especially if you get sick of these side-scrolling shoot-'em-up games, it's a lot of fun for the type of person that enjoys Contra. But the best part about it is, it has a multiplayer aspect, and the multiplayer deathmatches truly have endless replayability. It does a great job of boiling down all the fun aspects of a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. While not quite on par with Contra or Metal Slug, if you've had your fill with those games and want something new, Guns, Gore, and Cannoli is a great place to look. As we all know, the Switch eShop is chock full of awesome games, and a ton of them are under $10 right now. These are 10 of my favorites. It doesn't mean there aren't any more under 10 that I don't like. It's just these are the ones that stuck out to me while I was going through the list. And if you love any of the things I said in these, definitely pick up these titles. And let me know down in the comments what your favorite games on the Switch are that are under $10. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.